Hello.
Hiya, Craig. Nice to meet you.
So,
G'day, Craig.
Jason. G'day, Jason.
How are you?
Nice place you got here.
Thank you.
Well, we're trying.
Yeah.
Would you like to come and have a look?
Yeah, I'd love it.
Cool. Hi, my name's Jason.
And I'm Marcia. Welcome to our off-grid home in Timata near Raglan. The grid-free lifestyle has given us many freedoms, financial freedom being the top of the list. We've got a lot more time on our hands. We have space in our heads to be able to think about what we want to really do with ourselves and what we really want to do with our lives, how we want to interact with the community. It just gives us like space to actually be able to grow and evolve into better people.
We didn't go off-grid to join a cult or anything and try and save the world. This was about just surviving. It was about living within our means, and to people that say you're truly not an off-gridder, it's just not about that. We're not trying to save the planet, we just want to live a simple life. So we purchased the property about 7-8 years ago. We were renting at the time and we lost our rental property, and the option left to us was to sell it or to move on however we could. And that was to go off-grid and very basic. The cost to get power here was another mortgage, and once we were explained about how simple these off-grid systems were to install, it was just a no-brainer. We started with a very blank, basic 12-acre section, which had a lot of gorse. It had nothing on it, no power, no water, except for the creek. So it was really starting from scratch with a very tight budget. Having the block of land in the family for 100 years put a lot of pressure on us to make sure that we kept it in the family for the next generation. So we basically did whatever we had to do to get here.
And to stay here.
Yeah, so the first step was we acquired a Sunday school building, which was down the road. We moved that onto the section. It was very basic, there was nothing in it. We had to add a couple of bedrooms to it and sort of think outside the square, try and get a family of 4 into a 50 square metre building. It wasn't easy. We had to add a long drop to it, which was not what the kids loved, but it had a good view. And then showering, water, we actually had to go to a friend's place to shower every night. Cooking was done on a barbecue outside. Power-wise, we had a very little solar panel with a 12-volt car battery for charging our phones and some basic lighting.
Now that we've lived off-grid for quite a number of years, you soon come to realise that you actually don't need as much as what you are living with in a normal conventional setting. You tend to think about what you're using more, power, water, any resources that you have to you, and you soon realise that actually we don't need to be working around our power consumption. We need to be working around the resources that we actually have to hand. So this has been a big journey for me, learning about what resources to use.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, when you start with nothing, something like even the batch kit, that was literally freedom for us, starting at the bottom and getting just the basics back again. We were so grateful to have a fridge. The kids were grateful to have a TV. It was like welcoming us back to the world.
And here, Craig, we have the garden that we spend loads of hours in every year.
Gosh, it's nice, eh? And I noticed you got the solar panels on the back of the roof here.
Yep. When we got the solar set up, we got up there and thought, man, we couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah.
So coming up 6 years ago, we put in the batch kit first with the 4 panels, and then 3 months after that we added another 4 panels and 4 batteries and upgraded it to the Freedom kit.
And it's been going great ever since, yeah?
Yeah, no problems, no issues, never shut off on us once.
No, it just doesn't miss a beat. It's quite amazing.
Must have been a big change to finally have power here.
It was an incredible change.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it first switched on, you know. We
all came around the whole system, you know, and then we turned it on, and then it made this noise, and everyone was like, ah!
Did we do it right? And it's been going ever since. So
Right.
we must have done something right.
Yeah.
So how did you choose what kit to get?
Well, to start with, I had to approach the finance minister of the household.
We went to GridFree and we talked about what it was that we wanted and how big our place was and what we wanted to run. So we had a word with Ethan, and Ethan said the batch kit would probably work, but you really need the Freedom kit to run exactly what it is that you're running.
Yeah.
And we said, well, we can't actually afford the Freedom kit right now. Is there a possibility that maybe we could purchase the batch kit and then upgrade it later on down the track? And he said to us, that's okay to do, but you have to do it within this time frame in order for the batteries to properly be one unit. And so that's what we did. We went ahead and we purchased the batch kit in November, and then by March we were able to purchase the upgrade to the Freedom kit, and then everything went together with the instructions, and we had no issues ever since.
The batteries seem to have just cycled in nicely to each other, and
Yeah.
there's been no issues with, you know, running a few that were a few months newer, and like a reliable old Falcon that just keeps going. So we were first introduced to GridFree by my cousin, who bought the, I think it was a Weekend Warrior kit, and he raved about it. And we'd been looking into solar, and it just seemed so expensive and so complicated, getting electricians in, finding people that knew about all of the different components that we needed. And he said to us, look, this was just so simple. We just bought this kit. His sister ended up buying a kit as well. It's been brilliant. What was great about the set is we purchased it near on 7 years ago, and we were able to work together. We installed it, which was quite daunting until we got it here, and it was so basic. It was like working with Lego instructions.
The instructions are great.
Yeah.
They were so, like, they weren't gibberish. They were full on, simple, basic, easy to use
Yeah, and
instructions.
we started off with just an extension cord straight out of the inverter, and then we ended up getting, when we could afford it, we got an electrician in who wired in a switchboard and did everything properly, checked over the system, made sure that we'd done everything correctly.
The best part about going solar would have to be the freedom, not being a victim to the power company's power cuts randomly, and also just the fact that we live on a north-facing section. We can harness the power of the naturally derived sunshine. We have that free resource up there. We should be using it, and because we're north-facing, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, it's been great. So we've been building the house around the garden.
We have actually. What happened was I needed gardens because it was ugly, you know, like this little church building was just ugly.
We're trying to build around nature a little bit, you know, and add nature into it, because it's part of living off the grid. You want to live with nature.
And you're very conscious about the life around you. It's not just us living here, it's the soil, it's everything that lives in the soil, it's the little creatures that live in your garden, you know, you're making a little home for them, and at the same time being here has destroyed the home that they had. So you actually become part of that whole ecosystem.
Gosh, there's some flash houses that don't have gardens this good.
Yeah, I can't take any of the credit for that.
Well, thank you. It's a labour of love, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Love the paving.
Yep, it was a way to manage the weeds. The dogs loved running around here when it was grass and turning it into a motocross track, so we figured we needed to do something a little bit more permanently.
And so how long has all this taken?
Oh, I think we did it probably over a week.
A week?
Yeah, I had a couple of goes at it. I sort of thought this would be quite a easy little simple quick project, but about 40 bags of mortar later and a lot of wire brushes, because I made the mistake of not cleaning the bricks off straight away. So the mortar set on top of them, and then there was a lot of wire brush work, hands and knees, wore out a good 10 wire brushes.
And these over here, the railway carts, or what are they?
Yeah, old coal wagons. We came across them in an underground coal mine in Nightcaps, and it's actually the oldest coal mine in the country from back in the 1820s.
They look neat there though.
Yeah, they're a cool garden ornament, and they tell a story of those days.
Have you built some of this just out of stuff you've picked up? Is it just recycled items that you put in here?
Yeah, a lot of it's just stuff that was lying around somewhere or another, and I've been known to be a bit of a hoarder, so occasionally it comes in useful. If you hoard it long enough, you'll use it if it doesn't rot away.
So I notice a few vegetables growing in your garden.
Yeah, that's strays, those ones. There used to be a vegetable garden right there, but we've turned everything into flower gardens within the yard here, and so all the veggies that you see, that's all self-sown, and I refuse to pull them out because that's food, so we eat that. Our main veggie garden is out there in the tunnel.
Right, that keeps you a bit more self-sufficient, I guess.
Yeah, we eat, most of our vegetables come out of that tunnel all year round, and it just allows us to save even more money and have a variety of veggies that we actually want to eat. Make bougie dinners.
And save money.
And save money.
This is a very old community, and there's still a lot of old families in this community, so we're really lucky. It doesn't matter which way, you can go any way in 20 minutes driving and you still know whose house you're driving past. The community comes together for any need, for any occasion. We all socialise together. If anyone in the community needs help, people come together and help that person. Like recently we've just done a major reno on the community hall. That's been a project that could have cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we've literally done it through donations and volunteer work.
Contribution.
So it's a fantastic community.
I did the social media for the hall. I would always put the call to actions out. The responses were mad. They were just out the gate crazy. Like everybody wanted to help.
A lot of people there that came down and just did whatever they could. They weren't in the trades. They were used to sitting behind desks, and they just wanted to help. They wanted to be a part of it. And I think it's part of that human instinct which we've lost a little bit, and that's working together in groups, almost tribal, you know.
The camaraderie around here is amazing. We utilise a lot of community services because being as local as possible is really, really important to us, you know. So if you can source from your local community, that's actually the most resilient and the most sustainable way to be. And we're both accessible to our community because of the way that we live. We're able to give our services back purely in a voluntary capacity, and you don't expect anything back other than to be able to have a facility such as our hall available to everyone in the community and to future generations as well, because that hall is 120 years old. To be part of something so big and so part of the community, we couldn't do that in town. I mean, people in the city, they don't even talk to their neighbours, you know. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day and she was like, I can't believe how your community runs out in Te Mata because I don't even know the person that lives next door, you know. And she lives in Hamilton, and I'm like, but we know everyone, you know. Everybody knows everybody from here out to Waitatuna, over to Raglan, out to Makumako. We all just know each other because that's how our community rolls, you know. And living here has actually reduced the cost of living for us. So our system, the Freedom Kit, it actually paid for itself within the first 3 years of using it, so any power that we get now is free power basically.
Our whole monthly expenses has really come down to just gas alone. So we probably spend about $50 to $60 a month on gas. We're not misers on it, you know. I like to have a hot shower when I get home after work, and so does Mars.
Yep.
So, you know, we sort of break out with a bit of wastage in those ways, but our water's free, our power's free, gas is about it.
And we save a fair bit in our food bill as well, with the fact that I am able to grow our veggies because veggies prices are ridiculous. So I spend on groceries $200 a week, and that's really good butcher's meat and the dairy side of things, and then the rest comes out of the tunnel. But also we bake our own bread and we do a lot of things from scratch because I have the time.
Eating well's not always the cheapest way to eat. You can eat rubbish cheaply, but if you want to eat real food, it does cost a bit more. With what we save everywhere else, we can spend that extra on food.
Food's really important.
Cost-wise, we started with about a $20,000 budget, and that actually got us here. And we've added to that quite a bit. You know, we've got 2 cabins, we've got a good power setup, we've got septics now, flushing toilets, 2 concrete 25,000 litre water tanks, so water's never an issue. And I suppose we'd be getting close to $100,000 realistically, but it's been gradual. It hasn't been just one outlay. We've gradually worked up to that $100,000, and we've been able to live here and live reasonably comfortable right from the beginning to now. Obviously a lot more comfortable now. It was a bit tough at the beginning, but you couldn't really buy a $20,000 tiny home and do the same thing. So there's definitely ways to do it. You've got to think outside the square. You've got to be prepared to upset your wife. Nah, you'll be amazed what you can do when you have to do it. I guess for me, I spent a lot of time on the couch in front of the TV before we moved here. You know, I'd come home from work, sit down, have a beer, watch TV maybe, you know, waste a lot of time coming here. I've got my brain working again, and you just put your time to good use.
Well, this is a great outdoor space.
Yeah, this was a little bit of time in the planning. You know, it wasn't all done in one bit. We started with the pergola. We actually had to add this roof because in winter it was always wet, and then in summer just too much sun. It was too hot, so we decided to cover this in. So that's why it doesn't really all match perfectly, but it does the job.
It seems a feature of a lot of off-grid properties where they have an outdoor space where you can have an outdoor lounge and an outdoor place to eat, and so your place is a lot like that.
We do spend a lot of time out here, in the summer especially, because we do a lot of work down in the bush and up in the paddocks and out in the garden. And the kids also love this space. They bring their friends back here to have their little soirees. That's why we've got lights and we've got an outdoor lounge here. It's more for them really, to have their outdoor space.
And the house behind us, so this is the original building you moved on here first, eh?
This actually we added on to it, probably just from behind you. But the original building was only 5 by 5 metres with a 1.4 metre porch on it. So yeah, we had to make the most of every square inch.
So what are the things you like most about this place?
I like the simplicity and the fact that I can just go and get anything out of the paddock that's lying around and do a little bit of work to it, sand it, varnish it, shape it however we want, and then just add it wherever it'll fit. So when Mars needs a new bench top or a new area, you're not ruining a new home by going out putting a little bit of love into something that otherwise wouldn't be used.
And I think to add to that, one of my favourite things in the house is the spice tree that Jace built for me. He just built it out of the things that he had out there, you know, like a bit of macacarpa, a bit of branch from somewhere. He built it for me, and it's a feature beside the stove.
Yeah, it certainly has that nice hand-built feel and coziness.
Yeah. That's the whole house. The whole house is cosy. The whole house just oozes. We've made do with the resources that we have to hand.
Yeah, in places like this you can let your imagination flow, and you know, it becomes it's a blank canvas, and you can pretty much throw some art at it and with your hands and
be creative.
Yeah, creative. That's the word.
We're quite creative people, very creative, as you can see right through the whole house.
Yeah, I'm no good with plans, but if it's just off my head, I can do it. So that's come in handy. If you've got a bit more time, time's really essential. And we rushed into this. We had no choice. I think if you're thinking of doing this, you've just got nothing to lose. I don't see any downside to it. It's a retraining of how to live, of how to use resources. I would say go for it. It's been great for us. It's been great for our kids.
It's just been a really good way to look at the world that we live in and how you actually want your children's children to come into the world, basically. How you want your children's children to see the world. Everything that we do, we just breathe what we want, you know, like everything just aligns with who we are. Everything we do is parakuri, you know, like it's zero waste.
Yeah, I mean,
we live the zero waste lifestyle.
I think one of the things I really love about this place is we're not living that differently to how people were 100 years ago, which is how long it's been in our family. It's been a simplistic way to live and we love it.
Yeah, the thing I love about our place is that you can come into our gate, close the gate, drive down the driveway, and it's a completely different world. Completely. And it's absolute solitude here. It's our space, you know, it's our bubble.
Yeah.
And it's our life.
Yeah. It's grounded us, brought us closer together as a couple.
Yeah, it's made us more present with each other. We do more together. So everything that you see here, we do it together. We're just a bit more present with each other, and that's probably the biggest thing to come from living off the grid is that our relationship. I mean, we've been together forever, but
The world slows down and you get to actually absorb a little bit more rather than just rush through from one day to the next, and before you know it, it's over.
Mr. Positive over here.
Well, it's anything that slows life down's got to be good, eh?
Yeah.
Walk in peace, there's all the freedom you need. And go spread your love for the people's greater needs. Take a walk in peace and hear what I'm saying now. The world is obsessed with material things. It's time to throw away.
Oh, wow.
Your
I should have kept her in here, eh?
Let's let your world
So you want me to come out now?